It's time for Coming in Hotter, Sens post-game show.
Live from the Sports Interaction studio, it's Coming in Hotter. You'll have to excuse my slightly less excited tone, but I am excited about JMO being back. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
I haven't seen you in forever.
I'm still here. I didn't disappear off the face of the earth. I'm shaking my head though because my bets are not the greatest so far. So, you got to dream. You got to have dreams. How are you? How are the boys?
Doing fine. Had to hold it down without you. Oh yeah, Graham's here too, by the way. Graeme Nichols.
What's going on, guys?
You might know him.
Buddy.
What's up? Not much to talk about today.
I mean,
was there a hockey game or
there was a
something
lot
today?
of there's a lot of what not to do. There's a lot of these are all learning experiences, professional or not.
Oh boy.
You have to you take them and you build yourself into a sorry, what's that, Mom? Sorry, yeah, okay. I was gonna
Okay. Well, Sens lose 6-1 to the Dallas Stars for those who missed that. Their last game on the West. I want to say the last one on the road trip, even though they're still the Montreal one, but whatever. Graeme.
Don't have Thanksgiving dinner at the Kachucks is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is the Sens might be better without a Kachuk on their team, but I don't think the world is ready for that conversation.
Whoa, why would you say that?
Oh
man, the chat's gonna blow you
so
up.
mean.
The chat is gonna blow you up.
But
that's what everyone that is what everyone was concerned, right? Like emotional response being lower. Well, no, but it's like the emotional response, right? We talk about it all the time. It's like you get a player of that magnitude come back to your lineup. You don't want the emotional response to be just to let up. Like the team was playing well, foot was always on the gas. You're getting contributions across like three lines. You integrate Kachuk in the second line. You hope Timmy and Bath would continue to do the thing on the first line. And their last two games, man, they looked absolutely horrendous. And I'm sure we'll get into the turnover today and everything else. But I thought
which one?
Timmy the other night wasn't great. Which one? Well played. The Timmy one that led to the Robertson goal, the second goal.
Yeah. That was brutal.
Inexplicable. Not a fine moment, but I don't know. There's so many places you can start with this game. So
yeah,
Cody, you run the ship. Where do you want to
go? Let's start with special teams. Get the ugliness out of the way. But before I get to that, let's see something in the chat. I want one word to describe the game, just what you've seen so far, without using the word disappointment. But I want to see. But we'll get back to that a little bit later. But we knew heading into the game, Dallas Stars with the best power play in the league. They were running at 32%, which is pretty darn high number. And then the Sens still at the second worst penalty kill in the league. Before the game it was at 71%. Now it's got to be way lower.
2 for 4 tonight.
2 for 4 on the power play for Dallas. Graeme, what did you see there on the?
Just breakdowns. Like it was just breakdowns, right? Even like the last one, it's just guys are left unmarked. It's just again like the puck gets worked down low, and it's guys just scrambling. And it's Dallas, like credit to them, man. They finished the plays. Like they finished the plays. They got the matchups they wanted. They got the 2-on-1s down low, and then they just buried them. And it's just that's been a recurring problem throughout the course of the season. When Ottawa's penalty kill looks reactive versus preemptively being aggressive, making jumps, making the right reads, it looks bad. And that's just a function of the way that they play in the structure and everything else. It's just if they're not all on the same page, if they're not like if one guy goes, the other guy doesn't go, it's just it looks reactive, it looks slow, it looks very reactive, and it's just that's what happens. And I honestly I feel bad for Linus Ullmark tonight. Like I don't think he played bad at all. And then you look at the score and you're like, Dallas didn't get a ton of shots, right? I think they finished the game with I'd have to double check now. They finished the game with what, 26 shots? Yeah. So like 6 goals, 26 shots. Like that, it's not going to help the save percentage, but none of that was on him. It's too bad because I thought the first period was good. I thought they came out strong. 5-on-5, they looked strong. And that kind of carried over for the first like 5-8 minutes of the second period. And then everything just fell apart.
Yeah.
From the moment Dallas got their second goal, they just seemed to put it in like a different gear that Ottawa just couldn't match. And I don't know if it's just like this is a team that's tired, coming off a long West Coast road trip, multiple time zones, and just going through the ringers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, sorry,
love the
I'm gonna
finger
jump
point.
in.
Love the finger point. If you want to jump in, go.
Yeah, I'm
ahead.
just gonna jump in. They didn't.
Oh
look
no,
like
I just wanted that to come around naturally because that's exactly what. And I know for some and for many, this is going to be a throwaway. And people say, "Oh, is that really that big of a deal?" But to your point, Allmark didn't play that badly. Allmark going into this game had, same as last year, a phenomenal numbers through November into tonight. 902 save percentage going in with a 242 GAA. He was playing phenomenal hockey. Probably in part to the team in front of him playing very, very well. Sure, the dynamics changed when Tkachuk came back, and Greg. Let's not forget we got him back tonight. There's a lot of things that changed, but they just straight up look tired. It's not an excuse. We will absolutely get into that turnover that led to the first goal from Timmy on the wall there and giving up on that play. But is that part of it? I think it genuinely comes down to, Cody, you alluded to it, which by saying, does the road trip end tonight because at least they're back in the Eastern time zone as soon as they get to Montreal? They're just tired. That's what I saw tonight. I saw a very, very tired and undisciplined team that just, I don't want to say anything mean or rude, but looked the part.
I mean, yeah. Like, now that I'm actually thinking about what I said, like, does the road trip end? I mean, they get what? 1 day off, and then Tuesday they're back in Montreal, and then they get only 1 day off before they have to play again. So
and they're not gonna skate on Monday.
I think they fly straight to Montreal though.
They're gonna go straight to Montreal. Yeah, they're not coming back to Ottawa. They're going straight to Montreal. They'll probably have a game day.
Probably
not
skate on Monday.
And,
makes you think, are they even going to skate on Wednesday before they play New York? Because they get 2 days off after Saturday where they play St. Louis again, and then they don't get more than 2 days off until the 23rd of December after Buffalo for the Christmas break. Like,
Merry Christmas.
It's a tough schedule. You're right, but it doesn't stop. So can they even use that excuse of being tired? Because, I mean, sure, they might be at home for the next 3 games, or 3 games after Montreal, but it's still, like, schedule wise, it's.
But you talk about a pivotal game. Like, Montreal's not playing really strong hockey right now. Like, they're 4-5-1 in their last 10. They're holding on to third place in the Atlantic right now. Ottawa is, after today's loss, is coming out outside the wild card rank. They're a point back of Pittsburgh. You talk about lost points. Like, I thought the St. Louis game, they had a chance to pick up a point. They lost it late, had a terrible third period. And you're coming into Montreal. Like, after the first 2 games of this West Coast trip, Cody, like we talked about it, it's like you win those 2 games, you build a lot of momentum, you get Brady Tkachuk back into the lineup. You're like, okay, like, we have a chance to really go on this big run. I say I shouldn't do that. That's terrible. The Sens have a chance to go on this big run, build on that positivity. And, you have that big Thanksgiving dinner. The whole team's there. The trainers are there. And you've just laid collective eggs in the game since. And it's just left points on the board. And now you're coming back to Montreal with a chance to go 3-4-0 on this road trip. You could obviously win that game and go 4-3-0, which would look a hell of a lot better. You win that game, everyone's feeling much better about themselves. But that's quickly turning into a must-win game with big divisional points on the line. And if you're playing as flat as Ottawa has in the last 2 games, it's kind of concerning. It has to be, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you're totally right. Like,
I think Montreal, there was a lot of strength of schedule. Montreal started their season. I think Montreal had it not easy. There is no such thing. I think Montreal is going to be pissed off on Tuesday night. They lost 7-2 last night. They're playing with a lot of pride because no one expects them to be there right now. They're playing really good hockey, but I have to believe the Sens, especially to the point that we made about them going right to the plane tonight. They're going straight from Dallas to Montreal. They're getting in late. It's going to be just go to bed and don't bother me for a morning skate. They're going to regroup. They're going to regroup really, really well. But you're right, Graham. This is going to be a really, really interesting game on Tuesday because if they lose, they're that much further out of the wild card behind Montreal. If they win, though, does that sort of erase, does it make today a speed bump? That's what I want to know. And I'm hoping that's what it is. I think everybody is, but you don't think so, Cody?
No, you lost 6-1. out of like in the against. Look, I get it. Dallas is what? Let me pull up the standings real quick before the game. 16-5-4. I mean, people talk a lot about the Avalanche because they're so good, but I mean, Dallas is right there with them. But if you want to be a contending team, you have to be able to beat other contending teams. Like, has that really happened in this road trip apart from Anaheim? Like,
they played well against the Kings,
but they lost.
Obviously, yeah. Again, like they've lost 2 1-goal games. Like every game to this point has been a 1-goal loss, right? With the exception of this one. So, like, I think there is some silver linings there, and you can't get too wrapped up. Like a loss is a loss, and you know, you talk about like meaningful victories or just like just emotional positives that you can take from these losses. I think that's probably one of them. They pissed away points. They had chances to win every game up till this one, and I think it's just like this team just looks like a team that's dog tired. And I'm sure we'll get into the blue line and stuff, but like today was probably the first game where you could really, really say like, man, this team really, really misses Thomas Chabot and his puck moving ability on the back end. Because I thought the blue line's play today was exceptionally poor. The Spence Clevin pairing left something to be desired. You know, there's just moments for everyone where they just like had brain farts and mistakes and lost coverage and what have you. But I just feel poorly for Liam Solmark because they just dropped the ball here. They left him out, hung him out to dry, and there's nothing he could do about it.
100%.
Yeah. We'll get back to breaking down the whole, you know, everything that went wrong in this game. Just going back to the chat, I asked, you know, to describe this game in one word: brutal, tiring, tired, exhausting, disorganized, brutal. I'm sensing a theme here. So yeah, it's hard.
Happy fans. Lots of happy fans.
It's a tough game for fans. But JMO, since you're back, I finally had a partner betting with me because I'm not gonna lie, the road trip did kind of go well for me, but it's nice to not be the only one doing these. So real quick, let's get to that because this segment is brought to you by Sports Interaction, Sportsbook, and Casino. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. Bet the action on every period, every shift, every shot with Canada's homegrown sportsbook, Sports Interaction. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. So I had mine up. Goal in first 5 minutes. I mean, look, two teams that have been pretty on the ball offensively so far this season. Look, I know I said I probably wouldn't bet goal in first 5 or goal in first 10 for a while. I just couldn't resist, especially when I saw that it wasn't Ottinger and net. Somebody was going to pot one in, and then it turns out it took till the second period. So made me look terrible, as they usually do. And
you love that bet, though. You love that bet.
I think you were on the last time I did that bet, honestly. And I don't know. It's just those.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's a me thing.
it's your fault, JMO. No, I don't know. It's always in the positives, and I don't know. Maybe I just get greedy there. Zetterlund was on a hot streak. Robertson is having a crazy season, so I mean, it felt like it was bound to work out. And like an anytime goal scorer with negative odds is already surprising. But then they kind of just prove it right when it actually ended up working out with Robertson getting that second goal for the Stars, and then yikes, over 3 goals for the Sens, plus 120. I thought I was expecting a high scoring affair, but usually when I say high scoring affair, I mean high scoring for both teams. Yeah, we didn't see that today. JMO, were you kind of in the same boat, expecting a lot of goals in this game?
I was. I took my bets and I thought, okay, similar to what you said about Zetterlund here, he seemed to be ramping up. He seemed to be finding his footing and playing his role. I felt like he really, really, really started lightening his grip on his stick. Because when you're playing the way he was up until this road trip, I can only imagine how hard he was trying to just get any points going for himself. And that's why I went and put him on, okay, let's see what he can do. Over 1.5 for shots on goal. That seemed pretty safe. Brady Tkachuk, kind of the same idea. He's back. He had an assist in his first game back in St. Louis. So cool. Maybe nope. That's okay. I took a gamble on the goal. That didn't work out for me. And well, Sens win. I had to try and buy some good faith that, we can blame me on that one too if you want. That's me. I'll take the lumps on it.
You're free to take another month-long break if you want. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that sounds
Please
great.
don't go.
But I want to be here Tuesday. We're gonna have such a good game to talk about on Tuesday.
Graeme. I'm getting you two mixed up because
It's all good.
Here. Did you we're in the same boat? Did you think a lot of goals were gonna happen, or?
Dallas is such a good team, opportunistic. Could have seen it go both ways, to be honest with you. It's just they're just. It's tough because Ottawa's like relatively strong defensively. Obviously, they've been prone to some big game moments where like the goaltenders just don't play at a high level. But like of late, like Linus Ullmark's been locked in. He's been dialed in. Same with Levy, and those high scoring games just haven't happened very often. So I was hoping for a low scoring affair that the Senators could maybe take to overtime, get a point. Obviously, didn't happen. And it was a game of breakdowns, right? It was just a game of breakdowns where it's like, you got to give credit. Dallas capitalized on all their chances, and the Senators, I think the Senators outchanced them for the most part through the first 2/3 of that game. It's just like how many shots missed the net and how many shots were blocked. And it's frustrating. I think we talked about Brady Tkachuk and his return to the lineup and what that means. But I think one of the things that I've noticed over the last two games, especially is, you can't have I love our Lars Eller as a player. He is not a first line player. I noticed it with the speeds. A couple plays died on his stick in the offensive zone when Timmy passed him the puck, and it's kind of underscored the need for another top six forward. And I know we've talked about that all season long and stuff, but it's really highlighted, especially in games where it's you need that next goal. If you're playing a good team, you need someone to finish. And I think what Ottawa's done a great job on this year is creating chances, generating shots. Winning the territorial battles, being in the opposition's end more than they are in the Senators' end. But they just haven't had enough guys finishing plays. And I don't know who's available when those players will become available. The league is so congested right now at the moment, so it might not happen for a while. But to me personally, it's really highlighted a need for a finisher. And it's I love Lars Eller, but he can't be a guy in the top six right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock in expecting a trade, but let's get to the lineup as we're talking over here. But first, every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. From puck drop to overtime, bet with live odds on every play with easy deposits and payouts. Go to sportsinteraction.com/cominginhot to open an account. Ontario only, 19+. Please play it responsibly. Now, You pointed it out. Lars Eller on the first line taking David Perron's spot, where I think we all expected or have expected Brady Tkachuk to come in on. Mm-hmm. But lines we saw a good 3 games where the lineup didn't change at all except for the Shabbat injury, and now all of a sudden Greg's back, Tkachuk's back. These lines look nothing like we're used to seeing. JMO.
So here's a question for you right before we get to JMO. Which line do you guys think generated the most expected goals tonight?
Ooh. Amadio Pinto-Giroux.
I'm going to say Greg Cousins-Perron.
The fourth line, according to Money Puck, the fourth line was Ottawa's best in terms of creating chances.
I may or may not have
expected goals, which is it could be obviously when you see a line, when you see Perron get dropped down to the fourth line, you see really Greg coming in as the fourth line center. You're like, hey, that's a pretty good line. Nick Cousins is playing some pretty good hockey right now. That's a really good fourth line. So give those guys their flowers. But at the same time, when you have those 3 lines ahead of them like that, that can't happen. You don't have a chance to win if that's the case.
100%. I think the Eller move, the only way it made sense to me when I saw the projected lineup come out earlier was, okay, they're trying to be a little cerebral with this. And Green's trying to put somebody who's maybe going to match the skill of Dallas and you're not going to match their speed with Eller. So that's where he lost me a little bit. But at least you're putting that veteran out there with Stützle and Batherson, Tkachuk, Cousins, and Zetterlund for the losses that we've now had for the 2 games they've played. I didn't feel like they played that badly in St. Louis. So give them the shot. They deserve to stay together. Again, yes, you can put Tkachuk in place of Eller, but then Eller, Cousins, Zetterlund, does that make any sense? No. And to Cody's point too, Greg comes back as well. So you've got two incredibly effective in their own right, but pivotal pieces coming back into the lineup. And you're going, well, what? I don't know what else what differently I would have done to start this, because Amadio, Pinto, Giroux, that third line, you don't touch that. They have been one of the most productive and steady lines so far. Do you drop Eller and put in a Hodgson? That goes back to my first point, where at least you've got Eller's experience in what's going on. You don't need McDermott. And I defer to, this was a strategic move I see from Green, saying, let's get the experience on the front end with these two who sometimes need to be reminded. And Stützle did, almost scored twice at the end of that second period, but need to be reminded to just simplify the game sometimes.
I think you were about to summon Wally over there, and he was just going to start saying, oh, they lost because they didn't have Hodgson. But that's, I don't know. That's not I got to disagree with you,
That was a solid Wally impression.
Was it? Hey, yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
A little deep, but
it wasn't bad. You have to part your hair to the side more, and then,
Yeah, I think I have some.
We can call you BJ for Brent Jr. now.
Please don't.
Poor Cody.
It was
poor Cody.
This was a move. I think any coach today going into it, and I think it comes back to what everybody in the chat is saying. Like you said, brutal, tired, all that. I mean, the coach is going to know as soon as the players know. They're not going to ever admit to it. Obviously, I'm not saying I know anything that anybody else does, but if tired was the problem here, yeah, you do the best you can, and you try and keep things where you keep them. And I don't think it was that crazy to put Eller up top, even though I completely agree with Graham's point that he is absolutely not a first line player. I know what that says.
No. But it's like I also believe, like, I was advocating for having like Brady on the second line. So like I understand like staggering talent throughout the lineup and everything else. And I think like you brought up a good point about like Ridley integrating on the fourth line, breaking them in slowly. But like Eller's just a new wrinkle, and like to Travis Green's credit, like he's putting guys on the first line in small sample sizes. They've had a lot of success. Like I think in Brady's absence, like Perron had like 10 points. Cousins had a few big goals. He's gotten results out of small sample sizes from these guys who aren't first line players, but when they've had the opportunity to play there, they've been productive. And I think maybe he went to that Lars Eller role thinking, hey, here's an opportunity for a veteran guy who's been in the league for a long time, good two-way player, to get that opportunity. But it's just for whatever reason tonight it didn't click. And I think there's going to be a common point. There's going to come a time and point for Steve Staios to make a move. Because like the roster as it's constituted, I think it's talented. It's got some depth and quality at every position. It's just, there's not enough high end skill. And I think for this team to be considered or taken seriously in the playoff picture as a Stanley Cup contender, what have you, they need to inject way more talent into the top of the lineup than they currently have, because they have a bunch, to me, they have, they probably have like 3 or 4 really good frontline players. But they don't have enough top of the lineup guys to insulate them and complement them.
I'll take the bait on that one.
I don't see a way they can make it work.
I think.
Sorry, Jamal. I'm just going to jump in.
Work if I can.
Yeah, it's. I know you two don't really agree with me every time I say this, but just having a consistent line mate is so like important to me. Where that's why also I kind of raise an eyebrow, like why is Eller there when he's been doing so good with Cousins and Zetterlund? It just didn't make sense to me. And, if you add a trade, well, first of all, somebody to come in, at least 2 players are going to have to come out. And that lineup's just going to look completely different from what we're used to seeing. So, no, and that on top of who can you even get and what assets can you even give? So I think if they're going to make a big ad, it's either going to be through free agency, which they don't have the cap space to make a big ad, or one of the young guys coming back up, whether it's a Yakimchuk or a Blake Montgomery or whatever. But that's the only way I really see this workout. But sorry, JMO, you were saying something.
Don't be sorry. It's all good. It was to
I'm
me.
so sorry.
I think
Please forgive me. I'm on my knees.
You're fine. Just this one time. This is it. And if you ever do it, I'm joking. It's to me. It's
who just said toasty?
It's not. Sorry, I said fixable. That's not fair. There's no real issue here. There's no panic button moment, but there is a trade to be made every now and then. We don't know who Steve Staios is talking to. We do know, I think, that we can trust that he's going to make this team better if and when this trade comes along. The reason I started saying I'll take the bait on that is that because we focus so much on one of the two players who returned tonight. Well, sorry, Brady being out so much. I think one of the names that comes up every time we have this conversation is Ridley Gregg as trade bait. We just came off of 2 weeks of not having Ridley Gregg. The team was playing okay without Ridley Gregg, so let's play that game. In my mind, that's where immediately what I went to when Graeme's talking about adding a top 6 forward. You're going to have to give them somebody of that caliber, plus whatever picks we have off the top of my head. I can't even think of what we have in the system to offer. We got nothing, Exactly. So maybe it's an AHL player, but I don't know. But I think the biggest question isn't should we do it? It's positionally who is available, because you're getting rid of a great center. You're great. Our centerman lineup right now is phenomenal, but between him and maybe Zetterlund, I don't know who you're going to offer to a team to get somebody that is that good to make our team better. And that's the only reason I don't disagree that a trade may be necessary at some point this year if we are going to get to, let's call it the second round of the playoffs, because I think that's the natural progression, and that's where another top 6 is expected to bring us. I'm just not hitting the panic button right now to say, okay, we're not so far out of the race that we have to do it now. We have the grace of time at this moment for now.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, they're 2 points at a second in the Atlantic. It's not. No, yeah, it's not a concern. And you're coming off their longest road trip of the season, right? It's a long West Coast trip, a lot of travel, multiple time zones, which we've talked about. It's obviously when you lose games the way the Senators have in the last 2 games, it's going to be disheartening, and it's going to get a lot of people down, negative, everything else. But I mean, if you beat Montreal on Tuesday, then everyone's feeling great again, right? But I'm curious with the Chad. We're talking about additions, making moves. What position? What would you like to see the Senators do? What position would you like to see the Senators address? A left wing goal scorer, another defenseman, bolster the right side potentially. What would you like to see the Senators do? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, we'll give the chat some time to actually talk about that. But let's get back to the actual game against Dallas. The one positive, or I guess there's more than one, but the positive for the Sens was Jake Sanderson potting in a goal, his 5th of the season, which I was surprised. Wow, that's actually a pretty good number for him. Moving up to top 4 in for the Sens. There we go, in defensive scoring. Again, he's at his age. That's something so impressive that he's doing. We talked about Timmy a couple weeks ago getting into the top 10 of Sens points. Does it surprise you guys that he did it so quickly? Look at the name he just passed.
No, Cher was only here for a couple of years as well.
Yeah,
it's but I think Sandy's on pace for 16 goals, 66 points. He's doing remarkably well. Remarkable.
Very
quiet. He's on pace for 16. Yeah. It's you don't really, I think that's the difference between Sanderson. Obviously we had a generational defensive scorer like Erik Karlsson here for a long time. And you could see those dynamic plays. And I think what's impressive about Jake is that it's he does it very under the radar. It's slap shots. It's well placed second low shots that are tip deflected. And he just distributes the puck very, very well. And obviously he's got his own skating ability. He's elusive. He can walk the line and make things happen, but he's very good at finding ways to get shots through traffic into the net. and he creates well, and he's not afraid to jump into the play too. And I think that's one of the things that we kind of underrate, right? And that's how we got that second goal for the Sen, or the first goal for the Senators.
Yeah, he's really good. Those assists.
I think a lot of the longevity and the points that you see there is the next name on that list, and that's Chris Phillips. That's where you start to see somebody, their entire career happened here in Ottawa. They were nowhere near. I'm not comparing them as far as the skill levels and what they offered the game was very similar, very different. But Chris Phillips did that very quietly too. And I think even though Sanderson is a guy who spends his time in the spotlight when he's on the ice, yeah, it's not surprising for him to be there this quickly. It'll be really neat to see him when and I think assuming, forgive me for saying this, assuming he stays with the Senators for the time like Chris Phillips did, he'll be up and above him in no time.
Yeah, it's just the type of player he is, right? Like, yeah, it's only a matter of time. Sorry, Graeme.
No, it's all good. I just
since
think
we're speaking
Jamieson
of,
go ahead, bud.
I was just gonna say, since we're speaking of D-men and the chat and the trade bait, we're saying I love and hate that he's such a whipping boy, but the loud collector immediately throwing Shabbat under the bus as trade base, and I just don't get it. I'm sorry to be bouncing around on you guys. I saw that as soon as you said, let's see what the chat said, and I was like, why? Like, Shabbat is such an integral part. He's so good. I don't think you're ever going to get anything remotely close to that talent level back.
I think like this goes to like people talking about Ridley Gregg or like Dylan Cousins and stuff. I think it's like you only move those guys if you're getting a bona fide upgrade. And I think like to Cody's point, like, like there's not a ton of prospect capital here beyond like Logan Hensler, Carter Yakimchuk, maybe a Blake Montgomery, or maybe a Stephen Halliday if teams want a guy who's like close to being an NHL ready player. But like beyond that capital, the Senators don't have a 2026 first round pick. Maybe they get that back. There's just not a lot in the cupboards right now. And I think like if you're going to go big game hunting and get one of these players, it might have to involve moving a player off the roster. So when you start seeing like a move like last season where we saw like Josh Norris be moved for Dylan Cousins, I think like that might be the kind of shakeup that the Senators might consider doing, because they have guys who are relatively young, like 29 and under, who are playing NHL minutes right now. And it's like, if you have a chance to move a guy like that with a prospect or a pick and get an upgrade, that's the kind of thing that might make a lot of sense for the Senators right now.
The Norris trade for Cousins was, at the time, let's remember, it was a lateral move. We weren't sure if Cousins was going to be as good as he is. And like right now, it's obvious, like, yes, it's an upgrade from what Norris ends up being, but we didn't know that back then. So I don't think anyone's taking that risk, especially like we talked at the beginning of last season when Jensen got brought in saying, hey, now that Sanderson is at, playing to his potential, we have a solid decor for the Ottawa Senators now between Sanderson first, Shabbat second, and two guys that are able to play with them consistently. You get if Shabbat's gone, that's just a different story now. So I don't know. I'm repeating myself.
What's in the mystery box, though, Cody? What's in the mystery box? You don't know what's coming back.
Well, there's a reason it's called a mystery box. If you don't know what's
always
coming
take
back,
the mystery box.
You don't get rid.
It could be another Thomas Shabbat.
Could be, yeah. I mean, like you can trade. I understand the call it short-sighted view on trading Thomas Shabbat. You've got a guy who's 29 now, I think 28, somewhere in there. And yes, there's Carter Yakimchuk sitting in the wings, but there's no guarantee A, Yakimchuk's ready. B, that you're going to get the right piece back for everything we've talked about, upsetting the flow of up front and all these variables. I defer back to what I kind of alluded to when I brought up when I was talking about Ridley Gregg and saying, could he be the one to trade? It's something that I think they need to look at towards the end of January, see how December goes. I'm a very patient man, so maybe that's playing into my perspective and my answer here. But I just think that it's, because of the logjam, see what happens over the next couple of games and get into being back at home and playing those games. And maybe, but I wouldn't do it yet. You know what I mean?
I love how I brought up Jake Sanderson scoring a goal, and that somehow ended up turning into trade Shabbat talks.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get back to the game. Just wanted to quick add back on that Sanderson goal. The two Dallas D, Lyubushkin and Capobianco, they were on the ice for like over 2.5 minutes by the time that goal went in. So it wasn't really a surprise that Sanderson was able to get in there and show off these hands that we all know he's always had. Maverick Bourque kicking off the scoring though for the game pretty early in the second period. That was surprising nice play from Ilya Lyubushkin, looking for that rebound, and then puck ends up out front of Ullmark. I don't know, it's a pretty impressive play. That's something we talked to in the past. There's green jerseys around the crease in front of Linus Ullmark that stay there and are able to get a stick on the puck. To me, that's where that real mistake comes from most of these goals, but especially that Bourque goal.
So I was watching Clevin right as that goal happened, and like he was on the right side of the net. Like he's a left defenseman, but he was on the right side of the net. He marked up Maverick Bourque, and I'm like, okay, he's going to tie him up, box him out, what have you. And then the puck winds up double deflection, goes off Bourque skating in, right? And it's just like I thought at the time that Bourque got a stick on it. Like as it happened in real time, I thought Bourque must have got a stick on it, and it goes in the net. And I'm like, oh, like Clevin marked him, had all the time in the world to time up, and somehow Bourque gets a deflection. Then you see the bounces, and you're just like, and to me, it was like reminiscent of how the Leafs scored multiple times in last year's postseason, right? It's just like pucks go in off feet, legs, backs of legs, and you got to be good to be lucky. And you send players to the right areas, and I think like that's been one of the downfalls of the Senators in this stretch as well. Like Cody, like every goal that the Senators score, it seems like they have to work for. And it's usually a nice goal, get something down low, boom, in the net like Sanderson's, right? But you don't see enough ugly where it's like they're passing on multiple opportunities to shoot the puck, looking for quality over quantity. And credit full marks to Dallas for finding the ugly. They found a way.
Which isn't something you'd expect from a team that's known to have a bunch of hard workers, right? But no, you're totally right. JMO, you had some pretty strong opinions about the second Dallas goal, about a certain number 18 turning over the puck to a certain number 21 who has a lot of goals on this season, but take it away.
You just don't give that much room to Jason Robertson. You that's his 16th goal on the season, and my big problem with that is it was a brutal turnover, but it was a complete give up on the play after Stützle turns it over and just turns and watches everything go down. Maybe you don't catch Robertson as he peels to the middle of the ice like that. Maybe you don't end up being able to help, but try. I didn't like the fact that there was a lot of nothing. And that's really where that comes from. That's where it ends for me. It plays into the tired factor we talked about. I just did not like the lack of effort on that goal. And to be honest, I'm going to sound like a broken record as we go through some of these goals as well.
Real quick, David Harris pointing out Tim Stützle getting a little bit less ice time. And you're right, 16 minutes, 40 seconds of ice time. He
also went at the boards kind of awkwardly too. And like, like who knows if he's dealing with something a little bit. Like obviously he continued to play, and he looked all right on that one rush where he skated around, burned the defender wide, and then cut back in and got a chance off. But like, if the game's out of doubt, give him a break.
Yeah,
you don't have to overplay him.
But it was a scary moment. Real quick too, out of all the four starting or like projected lines we had, that Eller Stützle Batherson line was last in ice time, only 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Now he ended up playing with Tkachuk for a little bit too after some switches. Amadio had some times with them, so Stützle still had ice time, but it does talk about the kind of game he had. That the untouchable line, 7 minutes and 45 seconds for Pinto, Amadio, Giroux. Next up was Cousins, Zetterlund, Tkachuk. But yeah, kind of just a lot of weirdness going on. But back to Jason Robertson. JMO, you're right. He's got 35 points before this game on the year. That's insane from a guy who was in trade talks at the beginning of the season. I know about his contract, Graeme, before you you come at me, but I don't know. That's still insane. Crazy to me. Third goal for Dallas. The first for Wyatt Johnson, first of three. Johnston, sorry. I mean, I'm forgetting because the guy scored 3 goals, but what a play by Mikko Rantanen to just recognize an open man in front, and Wyatt Johnson, at least on this case, didn't have too much work to do. But Graeme, Mikko Rantanen, he's a decent player.
He's okay. I didn't burn them when they played in Ottawa a few weeks ago. But like Tyler Clevin, like you gotta stick with your guy. Like he identified him, then turned his back to him, and then next thing you know, he was anticipating that pass, or he was anticipating the Dallas player going behind the net, going far side. Mm-hmm. So that's where his attention went, and then next thing you know, puck comes back short side, boom.
He was expecting Rantanen to do this,
and it's like, yeah. So it's like it's same with the Bork goal. It's like he marked him early. He identified early, and it's like that player still found it, even though he was marked, still had an opportunity to get a quality chance off and score. And obviously the first one off Bork went on off his skate. Hard to complain about that. But when you watch that third goal again, you're just like, eesh. Like you're a big 6'5" guy who's physical. Put that guy on his ass. And then that goal never goes in.
Yeah. 11 -2 with just under 19 seconds of time on ice tonight. JMO, I mean, you saw the same thing I did too around the net. Same thing Graeme was talking about.
Yeah.
Just giving people getting beat around the crease, giving that the inside line, letting guys free. I mean, it's been a couple of games now where you also noticed that, right?
Well, how could you not? It's it's very similar to what Graeme said. He bought into a good player making a move, but you have to be aware of what's going on behind you. And if Wyatt Johnson is the one standing behind you, I told you guys I was going to sound like a broken record. You got to know where these guys are on the ice, whether it's Jason Roberts and Wyatt Johnson. That was his 12th goal of the year to start off his trip down hat trick lane. This is a guy you can't say, oh, he's behind me, I can just focus only on Rantanen. You have to you can't just turn your back to him. I can't say it any better than Graeme already did. And I think it's a big shame because Jensen was playing very, very well up until the last 2 or 3 games. Not that he's not, but there's been a bit of it's slacked off a little bit.
And I think if there's like any knock to the Senators, like construction of the blue line, like I think they've got like some very valuable pieces. But I think if you look like at their traditional top 4, if you include Shabbat in that top 4, if it's a Jensen or a Spence on the right side, like you don't have your prototypical physical defensive defenseman. And not that you need those like archetype defensemen to win, because we've seen the Senators have success with that before. We've seen a number of teams have success without having those big strapping like 6'6" guys, but they're just not really hard on the opposition. Like none of those guys, like Jake Sanderson's a phenomenal 2-way player. Reminds me a little bit of Scott Niedermayer at times, the way he skates and defends and puts up points. Just the way he plays is unbelievable. But like arguably one of your best defensive defensemen is Artem Zub. He does it with a stick. He does it with gap control. He will lean on guys and stuff, but he's not like a strapping, bruising type. And then Thomas Chabot isn't that guy. Nick Jensen and Jordan Spence certainly aren't that guy.
But that's
is that a shortcoming? Like there isn't that size and physicality there. So maybe that's one of the areas that they're going to look to address down the stretch.
Correct.
Clevin is a beast. I think that is who he can be. That is, and I think that's why it irks me the way it does, is that when he was playing at his best, he was finishing those checks in the corner. He had his back to his own net and was facing outwards always. He was using his size, which is sizable, to block people out. And he seemed to be becoming that prototypical stay at home. We're not going to mess around and you're not getting into my crease defenseman. And then whatever happened, maybe he lost it. Maybe I don't know, but I just hope he finds it because I think could very easily turn into that guy.
And I think like he was hurt in camp, right? Like he got hurt early on and then missed a bunch of games and then came back. And I've seen parts of that physicality come out where he was hammering someone like once every game, every second game, like massive hits. Guys are trying to fight him. You're seeing him bring and introduce like some of those elements of his physicality, but just in terms of being mean and just punishing guys in the slot, we just don't see enough of that. And it like that's not a fault of his, but like the way he took steps and measured steps forward as a player in the postseason last year against Toronto, I thought there was going to be that like introductory phase and like he was going to start that ascent to like that next level where you're like, maybe Tyler Kleven has the potential to be a top 4 defenseman. And I think like through the first 25 games of this season, it's just like he's not there yet. And I think like it's no fault of his own. And like there's still tons of time and it's just a small sample size of games here. But I was expecting that momentum from the end of last year to carry over into this year. And maybe that was unfair on my part, but like I was expecting that momentum to carry over into this season. It just hasn't happened yet.
I mean, I think he's up there. I think he does have that, top 4. Like he could be a top 4 D on a lot of teams. It's just in this case, obviously he's got Shabbat ahead of him, which goes back to what we were talking about. Like, yeah, they do have that physicality in Kleven and Manpal, but these guys, with a fully healthy lineup, end up playing on the third pair, which, yeah, Graeme, I agree. That is a shortcoming. But at the same time, what do you fix? Because the rest of the guys there, they are, all pretty darn good that are still there. And I mean, he's 23. I don't want to harp on him too much. And you can't, well, no, because you can't have your most physical bruising defenseman be a 23-year-old. He's got a birth year that starts with a 2. Like you can't have that guy be.
You're not wrong.
No, you could. Like I don't know what's age got to do with it. It's just the way he plays. It's the way it's the way the defense is built, right? It's not a fault of his own. It's just the guys ahead of him just aren't that guy. They're more two-way guys, or they're just not your prototypical defenseman like Zub, right? Like they just don't have those bruisers. There's not a guy out there that invokes like physical fear. And I think like one of the shortcomings of this team is when you're playing against this blue line, with the exception of Tyler Kleven, you're not really worried about any of those guys on the ice. If you're worried about like, being assertive and be like, okay, who am I playing against here? Obviously Jake Sanderson can beat with
David
speed.
Harris is reading my mind.
But the rest of them are just positional guys that rely on sticks and gap control, right? And like I think the strength of Ottawa's blue line is its mobility, and it's not the physicality. And they're not just the opposition's not worried about that. They're not fearing getting hit or just a big hit. They're not fearing that.
Well, I think that's what I meant.
David Harris is reading my mind because nobody has been here to teach Tyler Kleven how to be that guy. You've got a bunch of people telling him, hey, thank you, need to surround him with a little talent. There it is right there. And I'll be honest, David, I hadn't really thought of that until when Graeme was just talking. I thought, who's been here for the time, whether in Belleville or in Ottawa? What defenseman has he had to say this is how you do it? No, you don't. You shouldn't need that in a perfect world, but there have been tons of people showing guys like Zub and Sanderson how to play like Shabbat and other skilled defensemen. There have been tons of leaders and guiders for every other position. They haven't had that punishing defenseman in a long time. I don't think that he's had a model to follow.
I mean,
no, but I mean, like that's a player development. Sorry, Cody. That's like a player development issue.
Yeah, I mean, on the physical side, I agree. But at the same time, he played with Shabbat for a bit. He played next to Spence. He played next to Jensen. That talent was there, but I agree he hasn't had that, physical mentor. But that's also kind of the coach's job.
Volchenkov.
But I don't know. Like we've seen Mark Mathot. Mark Mathot's gone out with like the PWHL like charge, right? Like he's taught them how to defend, like what to do. Mm-hmm. You could easily. Probably wouldn't be too hard to like twist an alumni's arm like him and get him to help out in that capacity if you needed to. But I don't think you're doing that mid-season. I don't think you're doing that mid-season right now. But it's a good question. What to do? What to do? How do you make this guy better?
Yeah, real quick too. You brought up the charge. We're sending out our best to Carla McLeod, coach of the Ottawa Charge. Just got diagnosed with breast cancer. At least I announced she got diagnosed with breast cancer earlier today. Wishing her the best. I got to know her a little bit last year. She's a great person. So yeah, hoping everything works out well for her. Back to Dallas to the other Dallas goal. Art Ross.
Which one?
Yeah,
the other one.
We
haven't talked about three. We haven't talked about three of them.
I'm talking about the one scored by known Art Ross Trophy winner Jamie Benn, getting in close off of another rebound that he managed to tap in off of a nice pass from another 6'4" big old Finnish man. Broken record, guy around the crease with no one on him. Tim Stützle was the closest guy to him, and he's at the further hash mark.
2 defensemen on the left circle. Yeah.
Two defensemen on the left circle.
Ben gets lost behind the goal line by the end boards, comes out front, taps in. It's just marking up. It's knowing where to be. It's just like defensive breakdowns. Like we talked about it all the time. It's just Dallas found a way to capitalize on all the defensive breakdowns. And it's just something that's been kind of like a recurring problem for the Senators throughout the course of the first 20, 25 games. It's just, they play really well at 5-on-5 for long stretches. And then there's just these egregious defensive breakdowns. And for whatever reason, they just happen to be going in the back of the Senators net. And that was like the perfect encapsulation, like a microcosm of the Senators' problems throughout the first 25 games this year.
Yeah. Jamo, I'll rip it back to you for the last Wyatt Johnston goal, but again,
where's your hat? Where's your hat, Jamo? Throw it on the ice.
Yeah, here you go.
And as I'm looking at the rest, this is just a guy actually a shot from the slot that did beat Omar clean. A nice pass from Roope Hintz, which I'm pretty sure I forgot to put him on my roster for fantasy.
Was that even a hat? I couldn't tell. That could have been a piece of paper. It was so pixelated and white, you couldn't even tell.
Man, that is just mean. Me and my shed Wi-Fi are doing fine things.
A hat's supposed to look like this, not like a.
Oh, okay.
Not like
a white. It was like a white blur. There you go. Zoom. Like
oh,
you can't even read it. You can't even read it.
Soup.
Whatever.
Is that what that says?
Soup.
Hey,
soup
don't you
hat.
put down soup. It's wintertime. All right. Look, goals 4, 5, and 6 were all just getting faster and faster downhill. That game couldn't have ended quick enough. Sorry. I mean, that was the power play goal for number 4 for Dallas. Heiskanen comes flying through the middle and Rantanen shows off his hands. Goal number 5.
Prison Wi-Fi.
You're right. Am I frozen?
No, you're good. It's just you've gone from shed Wi-Fi to prison Wi-Fi.
Oh, we gotta get Yorkie on here. One day it'll be a show like we'll be sick or no one's gonna be available. It'll be you and Yorkie, and oh my goodness, that'll be so fun for whoever's producing that.
I'm sorry that you had to be compared to Yorkie. It's you know, I don't know where I went off the rails or if that made any sense, but to answer your question about the 6th goal, that, like I said, that game couldn't have ended fast enough. 4, 5, and 6 just were worse and worse. And you're right. The 6th goal was the only one that beat Ullmark cleanly. At that point, if you're in Ullmark's shoes, would you even care? He's been left out to dry 5 goals. He's probably at a 750 save percentage at that point in the game going, okay, what's number 6? Sure, it went in. Good for me.
Yeah, I that's exactly the next question I was going to ask you guys, but you're not surprised that Ullmark got left in for the whole game?
No,
nope.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm sure they'll give him Montreal too on Tuesday to bounce back. Like it's just, you played Levy last game, and I think it's only fair to go back to him on Tuesday, like a pivotal divisional matchup against Montreal. I think that's just like, you don't want to say a flush game because it's like you don't want to forget necessarily what happened tonight, but it's exactly that, right? It's just you forget about it, move on, because you got a pivotal divisional game against Montreal. You lose that, all of a sudden you're sub 500 on this trip, and you're giving up points to a divisional rival. It's a 4-point game, so just make the most of it and bounce back. And I think, like, to a person, you need more. You need more from the top line. You need more from the. I thought like the Pinto Amadio line was solid. Like Drew, they generated a little bit, but like they've been red hot. It's just like when they don't have those games where like they're creating a ton of scoring chances and they're putting the puck in the net. You're like, that's what happened. It's just like they've been so good. You're spoiled a little bit, right? And I'm curious though, like how have you evaluated Kachuk's play through the last 2 games?
He's not himself still. I talked about it last game. He doesn't look like Tkachuk at 100%. And Wally brought it up. Tkachuk at 80% is still a darn good hockey player. But it's weird seeing him on this quote unquote second line. It's weird seeing him not take as many faceoffs as he used to. He only took 2 shots this game too. He took 6 last game. Funny enough, though, Amadio had 1 more shot than Sanderson, and he led the team. So no one on the Sens got more than 3 shots up. But yeah, he doesn't look like himself. He's still got I'm circling. I'm just finding out different. I'm just looking for a different way to say Brady doesn't look like himself. But that's it. I should just say that.
I think he came back too soon. There was so much talk about him coming back in St. Louis. There was so much talk about getting Brady back and all these things. You can't re-injure that. And if he came back too soon, he definitely looks like somebody who's playing protective of whatever is going on. I've never had thumb surgery, so I don't know how long that takes. But I agree with you. He doesn't look like himself. You're not getting the beast in front of the net, where the fearlessness is not there.
So here's a question for you guys heading into Tuesday night. Curtis McDermott hasn't played since November 13th. Obviously, you're going to have the Jack guys.
Oh, easy.
With much, you think so? 100%. I could see it being Hodgson, but
it's not 100%. But I think it's going to happen. Real quick, I want to correct myself. Tkachuk took 4 faceoffs tonight, which surprised me. But yeah, back to McDermott.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see him coming in. Is it Nick Cousins or is it really Greg coming out? Is the question, or is it someone else?
Cousins.
Ooh, Cousins, maybe. Tough to say.
Yeah, because
I say Cousins because you're going to get somebody who's going to stir the pot even more. The pot is already, it's a hornet's nest.
The pot is stirred already.
2 pissed off teams. It is. And I'm not saying it's not against Nick Cousins at all. It's about you got to bring in if you bring in McDermott, okay, you're putting that enforcer on the ice to say, don't mess around. We're going to answer the bell. If you guys start doing that, here's McDermott. So I believe that Greg gives you a better chance than Cousins in a game where, okay, the enforcer's on the ice. Let's let the skill talk for itself until he needs to do what he has to do.
Do they go back to more or less what we're used to seeing in the lineup? Tkachuk finally next to Stützle, maybe Perron or Greg on that second line, and then Eller back at 4C?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Because
I could also see them going back to the well of they're just gonna we've seen it at times today. Like you mentioned, Amadio got some shifts. So Stützle and Tkachuk. It's just Green has done such an effective job of moving guys in and out just to get them more minutes throughout the course of a game. Where I could see Tkachuk getting double shifted to spend a shift with Cousins and Zetterlund, and then he goes up and just stays out there with Stützle and Batherson for an extended stretch. I could see shifts like that happening where he's just trying to not only get Brady going, because I think that's massively important, but Timmy and Bath have had 2 bad games in a row now, and you got to have those guys performing at a high level. And I mean, you talk about the 20 games that Brady was out of the lineup, Timmy and Bath were over a point per game. You need them performing at that high level, and you need Brady performing at a high level. And if that helps them get there, the occasional shift where they're all playing together, then so be it. Have fun.
Yeah, it's obvious the lineup's going to get switched around. I'm a little worried if McDermott is in the lineup that nothing does end up happening and it's just a roster spot that never ends up.
But Travis Green loves that though, right? he's gone on the record.
That's true.
That vacant, I shouldn't say vacant spot on the 4th line, but that opportunity to place old on the 4th line where he gets more minutes for guys like Brady, Timmy, Batherson, Amadio, Giroux, more opportunities, more minutes for those guys. It's not necessarily a bad problem to have.
Yeah. Looking ahead, real quick. Now, actually, after tonight, Drake Batherson no longer at a point per game. He's not 21 points in 22. So Timmy, the only one, 23. Actually, no one at a point per game for the Sens right now. Timmy leading 23 points in 25 games. Looking over at the Habs, they got 2 guys over a point per game, Caulfield and Suzuki. They're pretty darn good offensive players. In the Bell Center, what are we expecting to see different out of the Sens?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
I think Timmy loves the Bell Center. Timmy loves the Habs. And it's a game where, whether you want to play off of the voodoo magic like that, whether you want to play off of them being just not okay with the last two games and knowing how well they were doing, it weighs on a guy like Brady. And there's no way he's not at least being talked off some kind of ledge in that they were playing so well. He comes back and now this. So there's going to be a lot riding on this game. I think it's going to be a really, really, really fun thing to watch. With Allmark in nets, to answer your question from earlier, yeah, he gets the call. I really am looking forward to a very, very fast-paced and spirited game on Tuesday that I can see the Sens responding favorably to.
Mm-hmm. Graeme, is there something about the Habs that scares you in particular for the Sens?
Their power play is like top 10. Like they've got a lot of guys who can fill that at. Like Cole Caulfield's playing at a high level. Nick Suzuki's playing really well. They've got guys offensively. Montreal's like one of those teams. I think they're like a very good regular season team. Like they don't have many big forwards. Like Slavkovsky's a big guy, but not the most like overly physical dominant force that he could be. But they've got a lot of like
power play.
But they've got a relatively small team, and it makes for a good regular season team. They kind of like sort of reminiscent of the way like Carolina was like years ago, where it's just like a bunch of like talented guys that can like do well two-way, like they're decent two-way players. They do a lot of things well on two-way, but in like a 7-game playoff series, not really concerned about it because you can wear them down, grind them down, and they're just not physically assertive. It's a totally different game, but in a small sample, like Montreal's got some offense that can make Ottawa look bad. But I think Ottawa can exploit their goaltending. It's very similar to like St. Louis, where it's like, whether it's like Hofer, Binnington, it's like you got to take advantage and exploit those guys when they're in the net. And like whether it's Dobish or Montembeault, those guys aren't playing particularly well right now. And you kind of have to take advantage of it, throw as many pucks on net as possible, because if those guys aren't getting the saves, then you can easily beat Montreal. And they're 4-5-1 in their last 10 going into the game. So it's not like they're playing at a high level right now. This game is you have to win this. You have to win this game. You can't let Montreal gain momentum and continue to play at a high level against Ottawa. You just have to win this game. Find a way. But the Bell Center is going to be rocking. If you can't get up for this game, if you're the Senators, don't even bother showing up for the rest, because it's just you got to have a pulse, man. You have to have a pulse. No, but like you have to have a pulse for games like this, like important division.
That's what I'm talking about.
Important rival. Brady's fresh. Like this will be his 3rd game back. I'm expecting a big game out of him. That's the guy that I want to see like take over, and we've seen him play at a high level in the Bell Center before. So
I'm gonna stir the pot even more. Are the next 2 games a must win? You throw in the Rangers back at home.
Well, talk to me about how the Montreal game goes. We'll see.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Last time we saw those 2 teams against each other, 4-3 overtime win for Montreal. I think we remember how that overtime goal went. It was not too pretty. Also want to throw in Montreal is really injured right now. They got 4 guys on the IR, 5 guys on the IR, so maybe a little bit of a burger for them.
Well played.
But yeah, it should be a pretty interesting game. They're a pretty unpredictable team in my opinion, so it's going to be a fun watch. 7:00 on Tuesday. So I'll be there. JMO, you'll be there with me. Graeme?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. I don't see you on the.
You can come back. We'll let you.
Yeah. The figurative door is always open, but
appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it.
Till then, was overall a pretty nice November with you guys. December coming in soon. Christmas movies, Christmas music is going to start getting in all over the place. This caterpillar on my lip is going to be gone by next game. So
David.
No,
actually, I won't be there Tuesday because we're doing a live show.
Oh, correct.
That's the thing. So we're doing a live show in Orleans. So that's another plug too. If anyone's in the East the East End and they want to come to Orleans to check us out at Show the Shows, definitely do that. I think the show goes on at 5. You can make reservations online or call them and do it up. And last time we were there was a blast. Lots of people. It was well represented, and it was a lot of fun. So if you're interested, make your way out and then come watch the game with us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's seeing you guys in person. You're gonna actually see like how scary Graeme is in person, because
super scary, super scary.
You're terrifying, man. But yeah, looking forward. It's still got the rest of the season ahead, but yeah, I feel like the worst part of the season is in November. It's past right now, so it's gonna be a fun rest of the year. Looking forward to the holiday season. JMO, it's gonna be fun. Now that you're back,
it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Until next time, we will see you guys later, and thank you very much for watching or listening.
You've been watching Coming in Hotter, your home for Sens post-game coverage all season long. We're live after every game. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show.